Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Austin Trout. Now, both these two fighters are smart. Canelo is smart, Trout is smart. So I don't see this fight being extremely exciting. It may have one or two dramatic moments, but for the most part, I see this being a cagey, tactical battle. But at some stage, I think Canelo is going to have to come forward and take the fight to Trout. Alright? Now, as far as what Canelo does well, and the advantages I see for him in this fight, I think up close he's definitely going to have the advantage because he's more powerful. He has a better variety of punches. He's a better combination puncher to me than Austin Trout is. And I think up close anyway, he might even have the slightly quicker hands up close. Right? He's a better body puncher. Canelo's got a very good jab. And as I said, both of these guys are smart. But I don't know, Canelo has impressed me more with his smartness, his counter-punching ability. I think he's a better counter-puncher than Austin Trout. And like I say, he's got a better variety of punches in there. Right? He can throw hooks, uppercuts, straight shots, jab. He can come forward, go backwards. I think in terms of hand skills, Canelo is just, to me anyway, he's more impressive than Trout in terms of hand skills. Right? Now, in terms of Canelo's weaknesses, I don't think he's as defensively good as Trout. I think Trout is slicker. I think Trout's jab is more consistent as well. Right? I think Trout is a bit more rangy. In terms of arm length, I wouldn't be surprised if Trout has the longer arms. Don't quote me on that because I haven't seen the stats, but just looking at their body types, it seems like Trout is a bit more rangy, longer arms, and he's more consistent with his jab. He throws it out there. Canelo does have a good jab as well, but he's just not as consistent as Trout with his jab. Trout is going to use that right jab, make no question about it. Another thing as well with Canelo is that he's quite slow-footed compared to Austin Trout. Trout is a lot lighter on his feet. He moves around a lot more. Canelo's a bit flat-footed at times, right? He's a very powerfully built, heavy-set guy. He's very strong, but he just seems like a bit of a plodder. Also, the fact that Canelo can be inactive in fights. He don't have the highest punch output. And when you've got a guy like Austin Trout who's going to be throwing a lot of jabs at you, who's going to be letting his hands go on a consistent basis, right? When you're giving away a bit of reach, right? You don't want to be getting outworked in there. You understand what I'm telling you? Canelo's been fighting a lot of guys that are smaller than him. He's been fighting a lot of guys that are, natural welterweights or some guys that are over the hill. In this instance, he's fighting a guy who's in his prime, who's just as big, if not bigger than he is, who's slick, who's a southpaw, defensively good. All right, so it's going to be a difficult night for Canelo to land cleanly. Also, with Trout being a southpaw, the best punch to land, or should I say the easiest power punch to land on a southpaw is a straight right hand. Canelo's best punch is his left hook. All right, it's more difficult to land a left hook against a southpaw. I said this previously, but it's more difficult to land a left hook against a southpaw because, especially a southpaw like Austin Trout, who tucks his chin behind his right shoulder. Right, when you throw a left hook at a southpaw like Trout, a lot of the time you're going to be hitting his shoulder or the back of his arm rather than hitting his chin. All right, so to land a left hook, it's more difficult. You got to catch him while he's throwing a punch, while he twists his body round. Then you're able to land the hook. You understand? So there's definitely a few issues there I see for Canelo. Like I say, the main point being the slow-footedness and his lack of work rate. I see those as problems for him. In terms of Austin Trout, like I say, he's a slick southpaw. He throws a lot of punches. He's very consistent with his jab. He's light on his feet. He definitely has the tools to give Canelo issues. But at the same time, even though his win over Miguel Cotto was good, there was things in there, there was mistakes in there, there was holes in Trout's game, which I think Canelo could exploit. as I said, I think one point or another, I think this is going to be a tactical fight for the most part. It's going to be all about tactics, and I think a lot of the rounds are going to be close. A lot of the rounds are going to be very close, and it's going to be cagey in there. But I think at some stage, Canelo's going to have to come forward. I know Canelo likes to do a few different things. He's quite versatile in the ring. Sometimes he boxes off the back foot. He likes to draw fighters in. Sometimes he'll stay in the middle of the ring and counter punch. Sometimes he'll come forward. I think eventually Canelo's going to have to come forward, because Trout throws a lot of punches. He's slick. He uses his jab a lot. He's going to have to come forward and apply the pressure to force Trout to make some mistakes. That's how I see it. But like I say, Trout on the inside is not as impressive as Canelo. Up close, Trout don't have the same punch variety. He don't seem to have the same power in his punches as Canelo does. All right, and I think, like I say, Canelo is the better counter puncher from what I've seen than Trout. You can count with the right or the left, but especially the left. Canelo, this is. So yes, it's a very interesting fight. It's going to be a tactical matchup. That's the way I see it. In terms of who do I think the winner is going to be, it's taken me a long time and a lot of deliberation to think about this. Now, a lot of people say Canelo's just a hype job, and that, you know, he's going to be exposed once he fights someone his own size. Then again, you could say the same for Austin Trout. Who's Austin Trout beat? Yeah, he beat Miguel Cotto. Miguel Cotto's not a real junior middleweight. He's a little guy moving up as well, coming to the end of his career. Right? Miguel Cotto's whole, the whole hype about Miguel Cotto at 154 is the fact that he was able to give Floyd Mayweather a tough fight. But Floyd ain't a real junior middleweight either. Do you get what I'm saying? That don't really mean much, at least not to me. Right? So even though the Miguel Cotto win for Trout was a good win, to me it wasn't all that surprising, because Cotto is not a natural junior middleweight, right? So I see this as two unproven fighters. You get what I'm saying? I think Trout is unproven, and I think Canelo's unproven as well. People think, like I say, they give Trout more credit because he beat Cotto, but I don't really see that win as that significant, personally, right? Because he's another small guy moving up. And Cotto's got a totally different style to Canelo, right? Canelo, I think, is more technically sound than Cotto, right? I think Cotto's got quicker feet than Canelo, and he applies pressure. Maybe he applies pressure better than Canelo does. But I think Canelo's smarter. He's got a better jab. He's bigger. And I see him having problems. I see this being a cagey fight. But in the end, I see Canelo taking a 12-round decision. Right? That's how I see it. I'm definitely not counting Trout out, right? Trout winning the fight is perfectly feasible. Wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, because Trout has definitely got some advantages over Canelo that he can exploit. But I just feel that over the long haul, Canelo will start to get to Trout, and he's smart in there. He'll apply the pressure, and up close, I think his variety of punches, his better counter-punching ability, his jab, his body work, eventually will be the telling factor. And I see him taking a 12-round decision. It might be a controversial decision, right? That's possible. It could be a decision that Canelo don't deserve. At the end of the day, he is the new golden boy, right? So that's possible. But I see this as a tactical battle. I think more than likely it's going to go the distance, like I said. And I see Canelo getting a decision, right? That's how I see it. If there is a knockout, either guy could get knocked out, but I think more than likely it would be Trout getting knocked out, just because I think Canelo's got more power. I know Canelo was hurt by Miguel Cotto's younger brother, right, back in the days. I think he's come on a lot since then, and I don't know. I just see, if there's a stoppage, I would probably see Trout as the one to get stopped rather than Canelo. But either way, I think more than likely it won't be a stoppage in this fight. It's going to go to points. If there is a stoppage, I think it will occur dramatically from a counter punch. All right. But yeah, so let me stop procrastinating. I see this going 12 rounds, and I'm tentatively taking Saul Canelo Alvarez to get a 12-round decision. So let me know what you think about this fight. Leave your comments in